Well, hello everybody, and welcome to another of our In Conversation series. And today we're going to be talking manufacturing with Alan Arthur from the GTMA, and I'll let Alan explain his acronym because there's a brilliant story behind that. Alan, thanks for joining us. We always start these. Just tell us a little bit about yourself, your background and experience that has you today running a fellow industry association.
Thanks very much, Richard. Thank you for this opportunity. My name's Alan Arthur. I'm a lifelong engineer. My school report in art said Alan can create anything as long as he's got a straight edge. So I was always destined for engineering. I started my life in civil engineering, really as an office tea boy in the days before computers, when everyone was doing things on drawing boards. And I became a draftsman. I became a structural engineer. Got very bored with that and put myself through university with a degree in manufacturing engineering, and then progressed from there into mechanical engineering and returned and did a part-time postgrad, finally achieving my doctorate in mechanical engineering and chartered with the Institute of Engineering Technology. So it's been a varied career, but always within engineering, and I'm probably top of the nerd pack when it comes to being a nerd.
Well, that's well, you're amongst kindred spirits here because we are an engineering based industry, as you know, although one or two people watching listening to this will probably feel quite stupid now, given your level of academic attainment there. But well done you. And I always say we're engineers. When I've introduced our sector to policymakers and such, I always say we're the engineers, we're the good guys. We come up with solutions. Now, tell us about the GTMA. As I intimated before, it's a fascinating history, which is pertinent to where we find ourselves today, I think.
Sure. Yes. So the GTMA is an acronym. We just call it the GTMA now, but it started life as the Gauge and Toolmakers Association. And the little story I like to say is it was founded in 1942 as a bunch of tweed jacketed gentlemen sat around wondering how to repurpose their engineering companies for civil use rather than military use as we came out of the war. And therefore founded the GTMA, and originally they were the tool makers. They were the gauge makers. We have come a long way since then. We now call ourselves the Manufacturing Resource Centre. Effectively, we are a bunch of engineers who run the organisation, and it serves the manufacturing industry and those that want to feed from the manufacturing industry. We have about 300 members, and they're all in different guises of manufacturing. Of course, we still have the tool makers at the core of everything we do, but also we have people in additive manufacturing, people in design, people in casting, people in machining, and all of the disciplines within manufacturing and the supporting industry around metrology and calibration and certification, which is obviously a very important part of what you guys do as well as what we do. People say we don't have manufacturing in the UK anymore. Of course we do. And it would be an eye-opener for some of your members to go into some of these manufacturing arenas. They are often the biggest local employer in these small communities. And of course, it's centred around those major conurbations. GTMA membership spreads across the UK, but we have a high density in the sort of West Midlands area, down the M5 corridor with the aerospace companies, and across into Northampton and those areas that are renowned for the automotive and motorsport manufacture. Our members are active in all sectors, and I guess what we should be talking a little bit about is about what they and we might be able to offer in the manufacturing circle for medical and pharmaceutical.
Yeah, well, that's great. So we don't touch on the pharmaceutical bit, but the others. I mean, it chimes what you say. I was going to I was going to say people say we don't make things here anymore, but we do. And I'm speaking to you from Birmingham, the city of 1,000 trades, of course. So you can get anything made here. Just give us a sense, Alan, and we'll get on to the medical device bit in a second. Maybe about how healthy and how vibrant the sector is, you feel it is, the range of skills it got, and possibly some of the challenges. And then maybe a thought about that kind of onshoring piece, which was a great idea, wasn't it, during the pandemic? And we proved we could make things like PPE here. But of course, when China came back online, everyone breathed a huge sigh of relief and didn't really want to pay for what it cost to manufacture high quality stuff in the UK. So, sorry, it's multiple questions there, isn't it? So, health of the industry, some thoughts on onshoring.
Okay, yeah, I think we need to talk about smaller companies and larger companies, because there is a major difference. With larger companies, in the UK, there is a thirst or an appetite for bringing work back here, supply chain work back here. And as a net result of that, the smaller companies, most of our members are smaller companies, although we have some bigger ones, are seeing a feast at the moment. They're being offered opportunities to tender for work they weren't being offered before. Possibly one of the big positives for the manufacturing industry post Brexit is that the taxpayer, that's all of us, where money is being spent in the MOD sector and renewable energy, etc. Those prime companies and top tier companies are being asked to place the work in the UK if at all possible. And so we're seeing military transport vehicles being made in the UK for the first time, where they would have been made in places like Germany. So new world, new opportunities. I think ships getting stuck in the Suez Canal tends to help that argument as well. And I think we are seeing a trend back towards dual sourcing. It was something that was in fashion in the 1980s, 1990s, and then it came to price point sourcing wherever you can get the cheapest manufacturing done. I think there's this awareness of the vulnerability of extended supply chains. I think commercially there's always an argument for going for the cheapest, but many companies are now dual sourcing, so they'll have a nearshore or reshored source in the UK as well as an overseas supplier, and that way they can ensure they can still supply their clients. And the pandemic had all sorts of effects. The Ukraine conflict, the war that's going on at the moment, has had a significant effect. The Suez Canal being blocked has had a significant effect, and there are many other global shocks that have happened in the meantime, and they all affect manufacturing. One of the analogies I always give to people is you might pay a lot of money for your shoes, but how much do you pay for your laces? Without the laces, you can't wear your shoes. And I'm positioning that really for the small companies, the SMEs. We do a lot of very high value engineering in the UK. A lot of those companies are very, very busy at the moment. I was in a main machine manufacturer in Worcester just before Christmas. They're making 85 machines a month, and all of those have been sold. So don't let anyone tell you that there's no manufacturing in the UK. And it's doing very well at the moment. Margins are tight. Of course, energy pricing has a major effect, but the skills are there and the intent is there. And as the GTMA, we are there to promote it, but also to help people to put together supply chain solutions where they're fractured or where they're looking to open new ranges.
Well, that's great. It's really good to hear, really encouraging to hear. So then obviously you cover multiple sectors. We're kind of very sector specific, and we tend to think of our sector as a little bit of a basket case because it's so diverse. Looking from the outside, and we have a very, very long tail of SMEs, a small indigenous company. They tend to be very, very small, but quite a lot of manufacturing here by those, and also some bigger companies, manufacturers. So some of the largest multinationals do have a manufacturing footprint, actually in some unlikely places. From the outside looking at us, what do you see when you look at the health tech sector?
I see opportunity. Clear opportunity for the sector and for companies wanting to supply into the sector. There's almost an equal need on both sides of that argument. We have members who make for medical. We have members who are interested in making for medical, in whatever that means, and that can be anything from a door handle in a hospital through to an anti-snoring device, through to components for syringes. And one thing I wanted to bring up in this Q&A really, just to give an example of diversification, we've got two companies in the south of England, totally separate companies doing different things, who've spent their whole life as tool makers. And both of those companies now have in-house manufacturing for the medical and pharmaceutical sectors. So they've repurposed the skill set that they've got, the machines that they've got, and they're specifically targeting solutions and providing services into the manufacturing sector for your people.
Well, that's great, Alan. That's really great. I know we've got plans in the pipe to do a little bit more together. Just give us. There will be people listening to this, watching this, who are probably looking to get some stuff manufactured, or you may have actually sort of raised their eyebrows or piqued their interest in bringing some of it, that kind of dual sourcing model, closer to home. Just give us a sense of sort of some of the services or some of the ways our members might want to interact with GMTA, and any sort of brokering you might be able to do on their behalf.
Yeah, well, we don't charge for brokering, so it's a very simple model. Our members pay us to promote their services and to help them link with opportunities. We also directly target sectors to generate inquiries. We've been around long enough, and people come to us, they email us, they phone us up. We need to sort this out. Could you help us with this? Could you help advise us on this? So a lot of our time is spent talking with our members and with non-members. We do a lot of trade shows, and those trade shows cut right across the sectors: the medical trade shows, the manufacturing trade shows, electrical trade shows, or specific to defence or any of the other sectors that our members are in. And every new day brings new opportunities. It's a constant surprise what people want and what people don't have in place to satisfy the demand, be that a service or a product. And I can see a really good future for the best companies within the UK.
That's great. Well, it's a lovely upbeat note to leave us on. Look, we'll put your details out there alongside this when this goes out, so people can get all you direct. They can see what you do, and I think we highlighted some of your trade shows in our Prime publication. We'll make sure that goes out again, so it's at the front of people's mind. Alan, we look forward to working more closely with you. It's been great to chat with you today, and we wish you every success, and hopefully we can do a lot more together in the months and years ahead.
Thank you. I sincerely hope so.